Let me ask Nerdrotic this, because Nerdrotic has been involved in a social media war with one of YouTube's biggest movie reviewers, Grace Randolph. Let's take. We got a clip here. Let's take a look at this.
Sure.
Not everybody, but there are certainly a lot of people online who are defending Mr. Davidson's right to say this word because they want to say it, and that's really the problem. Really take a hard look at anyone who's defending Mr. Davidson and ask why. I'm sure some of them are genuine, but some of them are not. And that is the issue.
Nerdrotic, your response to Grace Randolph, who just sounded so dumb in that clip, just dumb, ignorant, ill-informed, dumb, and then decided to single you out.
Oh, yeah, she did. And my response is probably going to offend a lot of people here. My response was, you are fucking retarded.
Not going to deny it hasn't been fun, because it's been fun. It has. Watching her retardation get exposed to the world. I don't think it'll kill her channel because, man, I don't want to be insulting to her audience. There's just a lot of lowest common denominator out there in the world, and God bless them. Hopefully, from my part, we are going to go in on Friday Night Tights, but that'll probably be it. I was on Piers Morgan. I was on Piers Morgan yesterday with 3 black people again. Oh, and I think you're going to see it today. I don't know how much is going to get in. I'm telling you right now, I wanted to talk over everybody this entire show. This is the only show where I'm like, I was biting my tongue half the time. We'll see if me calling Grace a fucking retard makes it on the Piers Morgan, because I said it.
You are fucking retarded. Because that's what she is. She didn't understand. She shared out my video, and my video was basically calling her out for misunderstanding this, not watching the movie like I did, and making it 1,000 times worse for John Davidson. And then she responds in future live streams by blaming John Davidson for the heat that she's getting, that she brought on herself. Not new for Grace Randolph, but the whole point about this is, it's not a word I say, but it's a word that has a lot of power because people give it power. And we're only talking about this one word, and we're not talking about the others. And we can certainly talk about the BBC and BAFTA screwing this up, and they totally should have edited it out. I completely agree there. But cat's out of the bag now, and what we're seeing is a basic intelligence test that a lot of people are failing, because this movie was about acceptance. This movie was about, there is no intent behind the word. And that's what gives the word power outside of people, other people giving the word power. And I long for a day where it has no power, where people can laugh it off and we can get past all this crap. But we are so far away from that, because we have people who will just clutch their pearls when they hear a word, it's just a word. And again, it's not one I say or ever will. But it's still, the intent behind it was, this man has a disease. He doesn't mean it. He's going to say everything offensive. The woman who was taking care of him in the movie was dying of cancer, and he kept on saying, "You're going to die of cancer." He said, "Fuck the Queen." He was having his car searched for, and he said, "I have a bomb." He's been arrested. He's been beaten. He's had this brutal life, and he came out on top. And the whole point was, we want to have people with Tourette's syndrome and the I can't pronounce the word, but the one that's 10% that where you have these tics, so they can live somewhat of a normal life. And he's done that. He's made the best of it. He's a hero.
One guy was from PragerU. It was hard to get a beat on him, but the other two would have. I'm surprised. Maybe they couldn't hear me. I thought the other guests would go after me a little more, but they didn't. Except when I questioned like how one could be a doctor.
Let me say this in plain English because I'm not speaking Latin or Swahili. John Davidson is a racist white man with Tourette syndrome. And let me break this down for you. Tourette syndrome is a disability. Disability is not racism, and it does not make you racist. The Tourette syndrome simply brings out what is already in the heart, mind, and soul of the person speaking. Because as a man thinketh, so is he.
I don't know how you're a doctor. That's
Not a medical
the biggest
doctor.
mystery in life. Hey,
I'm
listen,
not
I'm
a
just
medical
simple man. I've been
doctor.
kicked out of 3 high schools, but I don't know how the hell you became a doctor. But you
I'm
know
not a
what? What a
medical
great
doctor.
country! What a great country you live in to hand out doctorates to
I
people
do.
who are woefully unqualified. Because that
That
whole
is such
argument was a
nonsense.
roller coaster.
Then they bring in another guest who's a real doctor who talks about Tourette's. That guy was great. Glad they brought him in. Piers was more pissed than I was.
What you
Why
did
is
to
it such
John
an
Davidson,
apology, Piers?
as I said at the start, was one of the most disgusting attacks on a
apologize for the
disabled person
incorrect
I have
statement.
ever seen.
as usual-
I've ever
as
seen.
usual,
You branded the
the
poor man a
capacity
racist
that you are
because you're a
displaying here,
race-baiting
you are
clown.
He's like Jerry Springer. He's there for the lulz. He doesn't give a shit about anything or any side. But he, just like me, had finished watching the movie. So after I watched the movie, I was pissed. I was so fucking pissed. Oh my God. The movie's really good, by the way. If you're in the UK, I think you can watch it on Netflix. I think here it'll be in theaters in April. It's really good. It was deserving of awards, and it's a great story. It's a great story. And now the guy's going through a bunch of shit. But the reason I bring this up is as much fun as it was to go tit for tat and all this stupid shit. You know, I normally don't do it. And this is why I don't do it. It's a giant fucking distraction. Couldn't get to the night of the Seven Kingdoms video that I fully intend to still make. But like yesterday was supposed to be recording day, Tuesday, like, and all this, like, it became a giant distraction for me, like wanting to do the video I wanted to do. And that's what all this gay ass fucking drama all is just a distraction. And people, whatever another channel does, it does. The reason I don't do it is precisely because of this. Like it breaks my focus on things I'd much rather be doing. Right. So now my Night of the Seven Kingdoms video is going to be late, but I'm still going to do it because I love it that much. But yeah, it's a big distraction, and then it's a bit discouraging to hear. I mean, I'm talking to 3 people on Piers yesterday. You expect it from Twitter. There's a bunch of fucking retards on Twitter, but I'm talking to 3 people who one was PragerU, so it's what people would consider our side. I don't, but what people consider our side. And he said the same thing. Like, it's like it was weird because we had a PragerU gay Republican. We had anti-Zionist lady who, you know how the anti-Zionists are and the pro-Zionists are. They're both the same. You could be talking about the weather and it's either Qatar's fault or Israel's fault. Like they will mix it into any conversation. It's so fucking boring. And then there's Dr. Intersectional, but they all come into solidarity when it comes to because of the color of the skin and that N-word, right? And it was weird. And it was the PragerU guy who suggested that he be segregated, and I'm like, what? Like, it's so weird. But it was also really weird coming to an agreement with anti-Zionist woman who said, hey, they cut out all the Free Palestine stuff. Why couldn't they cut out that? And I'm like, that's actually a good point. Why would they do that? That's odd. That's really fucking odd. So they got a beef there. The people on the show, on Piers' show, think that they cut out everything except for the N-word. If that's the case, that's weird. I don't know this for a fact. I heard they cut out most things, but not everything. I mean, if that's the only thing they left in, the N-word, they got a beef with BAFTA, but they don't have a beef with John Davidson. That's the whole point. That's why I tried to. So we'll see if I was mad. So I usually go on the Piers with I'm tippy tappy with Song of My Heart, but I was mad. So But yeah, it's just discouraging to see so many people just not get, like, we're not talking about the N-word. Okay? Guess what? The N-word has been spoken 10,000 times in the last hour, mostly by black people. It's about acceptance and empathy of a guy who has a debilitating condition. And the whole movie was about acceptance and realizing that there is no intent behind these words, making them meaningless. Meaningless because words that are offensive require intent. And then, this is the stuff that other people don't want to hear, you choose to be offended because if being offended is a choice. I'm not saying with the history of the N-word and all that stuff, but shit is flung at me every day. Shit is flung at you guys if you're on Twitter for 5 minutes every day. And you just go, It's that easy. But until we depower that word, it's going to have power over a lot of people. And people are going to use that to have power.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.